California, Nevada, Hawaii district. Unfortunately, I'm from the California part, not Hawaii, even though I would wish I would be in Hawaii. But it's a nice sunny day here in California, no snow. So that's always good. And I am our district's communication and public relations chair, as well as our foundation, our charity arm of our district, our CNH Children's Funds board of directors. So I give presentations about virtual fundraising quite often now. And basically what I'm going to share with you are some ideas of different fundraising projects that hopefully your club will be able to do, but as well as the 4 steps in putting together a virtual fundraiser. So without further ado, so what kind of got me started with doing virtual fundraising presentation was because I hosted a virtual wine tasting all the way back. Well, we planned this project all the way. We started planning it in March, right after the pandemic really hit us. And we had a project scheduled in April that was going to be a pub crawl. It's called Crawl for a Cause. And obviously, all the restaurants were being shut down here in California. And we had to think of a different project to do because at the time, we still weren't sure when things were going to return back to normal. And we had our signature project in June. So we switched gears really quickly and we planned a virtual wine tasting. And it actually became a really successful event, and every other club wanted to do it. So I started getting asked how to do a virtual fundraiser. So for this particular project, we kept it really small. So you're going to see a lot of examples throughout this presentation that basically can be any scale you want it to be. You can plan a project for 500-600 people, or you could plan a project for 20-30 people. And all of it is basically mainly to keep your members engaged, as well as raise some money and have a lot of fun. So for this virtual fundraiser, what we did was we partnered with the local wine shop. You see some photos of their wine shop here. And we asked her to put together these kits for us that had 2 different types of red and 2 different types of white wine. She bought the wine in bulk and she rebottled it in these cute little half bottles so we can maximize the number of wines we could taste. And for this project, we only charged $45, which is quite affordable for 4 different tastings, and it included descriptions of all the wines, and it included her to come onto a Zoom and describe all the different wines for us. So again, it was a really enjoyable night. It was our very, very first virtual fundraiser, kind of the first one in our whole division, our whole district, if you will. And we had over 60 people attend. So we knew right away that, the interest was there, that people wanted to do this. And so as I go through the different ideas, I'll also go through the different 4 steps that you do take to plan a project. So the next one I want to describe was a mixology event. And so, like I said, the 4 steps to planning, the very first step is pick an event. Figure out what you want to do. What are your members interested in? Are they interested in, the first 2 examples are both alcohol related. Is that something that people love in your division? Or later you'll see ideas of outdoorsy events, games events, and all sorts of different things. But once you have that idea, finding a partner for us for the previous project, it was a local wine shop that really could use the business due to the pandemic. And for this one, it was a catering business. Well, more like a bartending business. It's called Behind the Glass Bartending. And basically what they would do is they would put on very elaborate private events for launch parties for like Nike or music videos or celebrities. And obviously there was no parties going on whatsoever during the pandemic. And so they put on an event for us where we gave out little kits like this, and it had all the ingredients to create 2 unique drinks that you might not know how to put together. And he came on the Zoom and he showed us how to mix all those drinks. So step 1 is picking the event. Step 2 is making a flyer and advertising the event, just like you would a normal event that was not virtual. So for this one, it was actually called a Mochi tasting and mixology event. So not only did it have the alcohol concept of it. And also it was offered, you could have virgin drinks if you did not want alcohol in your drinks. And then also it had 4 different mochi cakes. And what mochi cakes are is, if you will, it's kind of like a buttery pound cake, but with a little bit extra chew to it. And so it was paired with the drinks. There's 2 different drinks, and there was 2 different mochis that you could have. And we actually made it part of our installations, because installations, not every installation we're installing new board members for every single positions, so it could get a little boring, so we wanted to add a little fun to it. And this was definitely really fun, and I actually discovered some really fun drinks. So step 2 was advertising it. Oh, as you can see, this is the secret recipe to these 2 drinks that we wanted to share. So like you see on all of the screens, there is a flyer. So like, for example, a wine and paint night, you let them know the date and time that you'll be hopping on the Zoom with them. And then you tell them a little bit about the event, the cost, and then the most important part, step 3, which is sign up. What we find for virtual events is that sign up is key. Because like a physical event, you guys maybe can be like, oh, just pay on site. Obviously, you can't do that with a virtual event. The planning aspect is key. The execution of the event is actually way more easier than an in-person event, because you have less cost, there's less overhead. You're not as worried about if the right number of people show up, because all of that is done ahead of time via the sign up. So I heard in your earlier presentation, they use Sign Up Genius. You could definitely use that for a virtual event. Or what my favorite form to use is, I love to use a Google form. Google Forms are super easy to design, versatile. You can ask for all the information you want. A lot of people use their club website and just build it directly into their club website. You could do that as well. And then sign up could be easy as, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email and tell me that you want to participate. The main thing is, for the sign up, tell them how you're collecting. And that's part of the step 3 is sign up and collection of money. So I prefer to use Venmo. So on my sign up, it'll have my Venmo QR code that they could scan. They could use PayPal. They could even send your club a check, or they could drop off cash when they pick up the supplies. So that was how they're going to get the supplies. So there's 2 ways you can mail it to them. So for our paint night, that's what we did. We mailed them the canvas, the paint, and the whole kit that went with it. So everybody got the same material. That's my 7-year-old daughter, in case anybody doesn't know her. Our whole district pretty much knows her. They've seen her from she was in my tummy to just about every Kiwanis project we do. So, and then we had an artist come on, and he walked us through every step of the way. And believe it or not, that canvas that she's holding up, she did that completely herself. So the artist gave such good instructions that even a 7-year-old can follow along and paint it on. And so basically, a lot of these are ideas of what you can do, and it all follows the same step. Like, for example, this event. Our San Diego Kids Club and La Mesa Club, they put on a murder mystery. And it was really entertaining. And I was skeptical about this myself. Like, how are they going to do a murder mystery online? What they actually did was they broke everyone into breakout rooms once there. But the concept was, there was going to be a wedding. But because of pandemic, the wedding was moved to a virtual forum. And so now we're all on a virtual forum and having this wedding. And right before the wedding starts, we're all family. They had family members assigned different characters. Right before the wedding was going to start, ding dong, there was a knock on the doorbell. The groom went to open the doorbell, and there was an explosion. The package blew up and killed the groom. And before the police can arrive, because the police are very busy with the pandemic, before the police can arrive, since we are on here on Zoom and heard the things leading up to it, let's try to solve this mystery. People were broken into breakout rooms, and it was very interactive and it was really fun. But like I said, after you figure out what you're going to do, the flyer, this is their flyer that they sent out. They had a place to RSVP. how to pay. It was $10 per person or $20 per group, and they accepted via the Cash App. And payment instructions sent upon confirmation. So they had you sign up first, and then they would send you an email exactly with all the payment information. And so this was some photos of the event. These were actors, if you will. They were all this was a couple that was getting married, Debbie and Mara, and all the family relatives and all the drama that comes with a family. Oh, and also a virtual cooking class. So we actually took on this project because one of our local pizza shops, it's kind of like a Pieology or Pizza Rev. I don't know if you guys have that in Pennsylvania, where basically you could go down the line and you could tell them what toppings you want, and then they toss it in the oven for you. Was forced to shut down. I don't know again what it was like in Pennsylvania, but in California for a brief time in March, there's nothing. There was like outdoor dining, I mean, was not even allowed. Takeout was even iffy at the time. And so for many businesses, they had to find a different source of revenue. So this pizza shop was actually a member of our Kiwanis Club. And so they took all the kits that they would have made if you had come in the store and all the toppings and put them into a little takeout container, all separate, and they gave you the dough. And so we went home, we all hopped on Zoom, and we rolled out the dough and we added the toppings that we liked, and we had a fun night of socializing and talking about food we like. The same thing could have done for a sushi night, and again the same thing could have done for ooh, there's a spelling error there, just don't look at that title. For plotting class, so putting together succulents and plants and all that stuff. The great thing about those two last samples was the plants was that you can mail them. The pizza, obviously, they had to be picked up on the day of to keep all the ingredients fresh. Same thing could be done for a virtual game night. We've done this many times in our Kiwanis Club, and not only did it raise money, but it was really fun. And like the previous presentation about community service, it's another way to show the community that you're here and that you're having fun and you're making the best of the situation. And bingo nights have been told to raise tons of money, and there's a lot of virtual bingo platforms that you could team up with. Very little work on your part. No having to mail out bingo cards. There's virtual bingo cards that people can get. Trivia night, family feud night. Again, very little things that you have to mail out or do. For family feud, really, there's nothing to mail out. What we did for a family feud was we had each Kiwanis Club, we had 3 Kiwanis Club going against each other. So there was 3 families, if you will, but 3 Kiwanis Clubs, and each member that attended had to pay $10 or $15. And then the Kiwanis Club that won the night got to take in all the cash from all the other teams, and it was a great administrative fundraiser. So we have both administrative fundraisers and foundation fundraisers. And because this was a Kiwanis only event, all that funds could have gone to administrative, which was really lacking due to, the pandemic, the happy and sad dollars. We didn't really figure that out until pretty late in 2020. Now our clubs do happy and sad dollars at their meeting as well. But in the beginning, we were missing all that revenue. Virtual parkour tournaments, they've really become a thing. So the most popular company that puts it on is called Fade Spade, and they do it specifically for charities. So you have to be a charitable group, nonprofit, to be able to participate. And they've done it for our boys and girls clubs, for a lot of our after school groups as well, for the parents and stuff. So yeah, they're really fun and a really great way to raise some money because, again, these are a little bit more higher amounts that you could raise. And for our outdoorsy people, this was really popular for American Cancer Society, for Relay for Life. They took on this project. They made the relay virtual so that people can take walks at a specific times for cancer. And a lot of people live stream, a lot of people posted videos, and it was a great way to raise money when you want to do something outdoorsy. Along the same line of this, one of our Kiwanis Club every year puts on kind of like a turkey trot, like a walk or a run. And they couldn't do that because our county did not allow any large gathering of groups. So what we did was we would still make the medals that they would get for a walk, and we asked them, and we mailed them a little step tracker, and we asked them. There was no oversight, if you will. It was all honor system, but we asked them to walk certain amount, certain distance on that day, and once you did, you took a photo of yourself and your tracker, and you submitted a Google form to let them know that you completed it, and they still mailed you a medal, and there was still a registration fee, and they actually made more money that year than they did all the previous years where I was in person. And the reason for that was they normally would have to shut down the street, and there's a permitting cost to that. Oh, and then oops, there's a permitting cost to that, and then they have to hire people at each of the stations. They would have a lot of overhead in terms of they would feed them as well, and they would have t-shirts, and they would have all these things, and there was a lot of logistics, but they made over $100,000 on their their walkathon, or their turkey trot, whatever you want to call it. And it was all virtual, and it was really enjoyable. And there was more social engagement on their Facebook page than they ever had in the past. And it was really great. Virtual magic shows. These are really popular as well for people who have kids as well as grown-ups. So that's another thing to think about. And virtual auctions. So the next slide, I'm going to show you our Midyear, which just happened last weekend. And virtual auctions have really, really become popular. And there's a lot of different websites that you could partner with that you can use for very low cost to put up both silent auction items, live auction items, and you could raise a lot of money for that. And again, it's very easy because there's these websites that now help you logistically do it. And so I wanted to show you our Midyear. So the charitable arm of our district, the California, Nevada, Hawaii Children's Fund, we put on something called a red, white, and brew event. And obviously it was brewed for beer. We had both beer and wine options. And it was a virtual tailgate auction and post-show conference. That is a mouthful. There was a lot of things going on at one night, but it was in conjunction with our Midyear. And we had a sponsorship, and that is another great way to raise money for your virtual events. So as you can see, we had a touchdown sponsor, which was $1,000. We originally started off and we limited it to 5 because we wanted to play commercials for each of the tailgate or the touchdown sponsors, but we actually ended up having way more than 5 because people were willing to split their time and we added an extra few commercials, and we had homeroom sponsors at 500, 250, 100, and even program ads as low as $50. So purely on sponsorships, before the event even started, we raised $33,000 just on sponsorships. And it was great. It was everybody reached out to stuff. So like the 4 steps I talked about. Step 1 is figure out what you're going to do. And so we figured out that, we're going to have a tailgate themed wine tasting and beer tasting event. And so they were going to get goodie bags that had both wine or beer in it, along with a bunch of other stuff. And then step 2 was advertising the event, which here is our flyer. It's a very small flyer so that you can use it on both Facebook, social media, Instagram. And then we reached out to our sponsors. And then for all of our sponsors, they received a shout out. And that was one way to let people know all the different people that was coming on board. And actually it generated even more sponsors. So as you can see, this New York Life was a goal sponsor, which was only $100. 3-point basket was $250. And then a touchdown was $1,000 sponsors. And Kiwanis clubs got together, individuals sponsored, Kiwanians, individual sponsors, and then a lot of businesses got involved in this and sponsored as well. And then we advertised our silent auction items. We used a portal called One Bid Pal. So this is that site right here. It has the web address on top. It says onebidpal.net. And that is actually a really great site. So on this site, you're able to buy ticket admissions to the event. So it offered the $25 general admissions, the $50 admission that allows you to pick, had a little bit more goodies in your stuff. And then $100 was for if you wanted wine or beer. And then we even had another level above that. And I think it was, it included a special shout out or a special raffle tickets and whatnot. But on this site, as you can see, it also allowed you to see all the silent auction items right there and there. So opportunity drawing, the silent auction, the event sponsors, everything was built into this one page, and it was very easy to use. So if you want to save that website, one.bidpal.net, it really is a great site that is all encompassing. And so from the night of, in there where it says make a donation, you could have made up a straight up donation. And so just from donating money, not anything contributing to silent auction, we had $6,450. That was pure donations. So from the silent auction, there was also a live auction. And in there, it had the live auction descriptions, but we did the live auction via Zoom. Had silent auction, had live auction, had admissions. Right now, we're about at 60,000. Oh, just under 60,000, $60,000 made from the event. And so this was us on the day of the event. We had about, I believe it was under 200 people. I don't quote me on the number of people, but it was really well attended. So it was on a Zoom, but we actually had someone host it who had like a studio. So they queued up all the pre-recorded sessions and they were able to play it, and they were able to play ads that from our sponsors. And that is my contact information. I wanted to leave a little time near the end in case we had any questions. And so I gave you, I know, a lot of different ideas, but whatever your club is known for, whatever your club members love, that is an event that you can turn into a virtual event. If your club used to put on, a cook-off, or if your club is known for a crab feed, we've seen all of those converted to a virtual forum where they drive through and they pick up the event and they log on to Zoom and you guys enjoy it all together. So at this time, is there any questions?
A lot of comments in here.
Eugene has a question. There you go, Eugene, if you want to unmute yourself.
Thanks. So in all of the virtual events, from wine tasting and all the family food game, which virtual events in your district is the most popular?
Okay, I apologize for my district for this, but for my district, it's any events involving wine. I don't know if that's the same for your district, but we actually had a lot of success. This is our second foundation virtual event. So the other virtual event we had, we also partnered with Matera Vineyard. We're very fortunate that winery has always partnered with us. They actually donated, I believe, 100 kits where there was 3 bottles of wine. It was pure donated, and it was $75 for a wine tasting event, and people paid $75, and that was pure profit in the sense that Matera donated all the wine and we sent it out. Our event that we just had right now also had wine and beer, and that was also really successful.
Anna, we have a question from the chat. Do you know the cost involved using the Bipaddle website?
Yeah, so one of our Kiwanis Club paid for annual membership. So so you can pay for 1 year of membership, and you could do as many virtual events as you want. I don't know what that was. I want to say it was pretty expensive. I want to say it was like maybe $250, around that range. But the great thing is that Kiwanis Club paid for the membership and they allowed us to use it for free for our events. And they've done it for other Kiwanis Club. So if you maybe want to figure out the cost and ask like one Kiwanis Club to pay it and maybe split it amongst all your different Kiwanis Club, it becomes really, really affordable. So check it out. They have different levels that you can buy into. Do you have any other questions?
It looks like one question. What about the
What
various
about,
state and county gambling licenses?
Yes, that is why we used for gambling wise for poker, the poker virtual poker. That is why we use Kate Spade. Kate Spade has figured out all the legal legalities behind it, and they are not based in California or Nevada. They're based in a state that allows them to host this. So that is why we partner with different people. Same thing with wine. You're not actually allowed to sell wine and ship it to out of state and stuff. So we let the people we partner with handle all of that. And also we don't consider it selling wine. It's a donation and we send them wine. And the same thing just happened recently. We just got 250 cases of wine donated to us completely free. And we are accepting donations for wine tasting.
Sarah, this is Kevin. I just want to point out that in Pennsylvania, because of the parochial way that we do things, that every club would need its own game of chance license to do this event from the county that's in. Even if it's a combined group of clubs, you would need a small game of chance license from the county in which the game is based.
In California, we just can't call it like a 50-50 or anything like that. As long as we call it something different, then we don't need a specific license. It might be different in your state, but look into your different rules and stuff. Sometimes we actually call it like a donation for, besides opportunity drawings, we come up with all sorts of unique names for it, but look into that.
We have one question from Elisa Montana says.
Hi, my name's Elida. And I'm from Montana. And Anna, you started out with 2 points. What we're going to do, how we're going to advertise it, and then there was sign up, and then what? Was it just a collection?
Yeah. So number one is figuring out what you want to do.
Mhm.
Number two is advertising the events. Number three is sign up and collecting money. And then number four is making sure that they get everything they need before they jump on a Zoom. And then
Okay.
is the actual event.
Okay. So there's five steps altogether. Excellent presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I think people wanted to see some of the slides, but we will get Anna's slides and get that distributed to everyone in attendance. So no worries about that. You'll get that online. And again, this is being recorded. So if people in your club missed it, no worries. We have it recorded as well. Other questions in here? I saw a couple. No.
So one thing I wanted to ask was that, again, if you guys have an event that you guys used to have in person, I'm looking to transferring it to a virtual event. A lot of times it's more profitable because of the fact that, one, people aren't going to as many events right now as they were in the past. And then two is that there's less overhead costs, there's less limits. For normally our gala that we put on instead of the virtual tailgating, our cutoff for sign up is way far in advance because the hotel has to know how much food to provide and all of that aspect. But for our virtual event, we sold the entrance, the $25 entrance fee, all the way until an hour before the event. And so there really opens up a lot more possibilities. Don't let the fact that it's virtual hinder you. And we've seen virtual events raised over $100,000. Our most recent event, we're looking at around $60,000. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Anna. Any other questions for Anna?
one more from Alita.
Okay. Oh, we have one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, no, I think that was just a applause. Thank you. All right. Awesome. Thank you, Anna, for,
Also, I'll send Sarah a link to how to create a Google form and kind of how to sign up for PayPal and all the online paying methods in case that is something of interest to you for creating a virtual event. The sign up and the collection of money is pretty much the most important part.
yes. Yeah, that would be great resource for everybody here. I think people would like that. So thank you.